Welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast here on Nighthawk Radio. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. If you want to listen to Nighthawk Radio, go to nighthawk-radio.com. You can find us on YouTube at Nighthawk Radio, Spotify. We're now on YouTube Music, and you can find us everywhere you find podcasts at. And now we got our own website, so check us out on there too, nighthawk-radio.com. I want to
Nice.
thank you. Yes, sir. We're blessed enough to have an interview with former Libertarian Chairman Charles Altendorf. How are you doing tonight, brother?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Seth.
Yep. Former chairman of the Kentucky Libertarian Party. My bad.
Yeah. No, I probably wouldn't do national. That would be more of a time commitment than I'm ready for, I think.
Yeah, dude. How are you doing tonight, though, man? You doing good?
I'm doing pretty good. I got my "It's Always Woodrow Wilson's Fault" t-shirt on, so
Yeah, he's
that's a
known
my
as one of
boy
the
from
socialists in our presidential history.
probably, I don't know. He's probably in the bottom three presidents, I would say. I don't know.
Oh no, I wasn't saying he was the top president. I'm saying he's one of them, well, known as one of the like first socialists.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not. He's bottom three for sure. I don't know who. And historians are like revising him down basically because he used to be kind of revered, but he's been taking an absolute beating from historians lately, which rightly so. But it's still kind of funny.
Yeah, Joe Biden's got to be the worst, brother.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he wasn't even president, though, right? The auto pen, right?
The
Ah! Well, cool.
auto kid.
But
But
yeah,
how
so
long
my
was you
friend had
chairman?
a go ahead. Go ahead. You go
Oh,
ahead.
my bad. What was you saying, brother? I didn't mean to interrupt
Oh,
you.
I was gonna say if you want an "It's Always Woodrow Wilson" shirt, my friends from Who Touched This Thermostat make them, so look it up.
What a name. Who touched the thermostat, man? What
Yeah.
a name.
All right, go ahead, says your show. Take it over.
Hey, that's an awesome name, though. I like that. But anyways, man, yeah, definitely go check out the shirts and stuff. But how was it being the Libertarian chairman of Kentucky, brother? And how long was you Libertarian Party chairman?
So I did it for 2 years. And 2023, well, there's a lot of fun moments. I definitely don't regret doing it. I enjoyed we got to do, back at my alma mater, the University of Kentucky. We got to do a radio show for a while, me and a guy named Jeff Sebesta, who was formerly of the Democratic Party and is now organizing the Kentucky Party, but he worked in a lot of conjunction with Jeff Young, who's on the KDP blacklist. So, but it was a good show. We got to do an hour a week for a while and really do local headlines and kind of cause a bunch of stir there in Kentucky. And I am proud to say we still have the college libertarian affiliate at the University of Kentucky, and we're only one of like 30 campus affiliates in the Libertarian Party in the United States, which that's really awesome too. But yeah, so we did a lot of great things. And then, of course, last year, the Libertarian Party of Kentucky, we made it to Fancy Farm last year, which that was awesome. We hadn't been invited for a long, it'd been 5 years since we had been to Fancy Farm. They just, I think they got a little desperate for inviting people. But hey, we showed up anyway.
Hey,
But,
shout out to the Libertarian Party, man.
so those are all good successes. And then I also got to go to, sort of a little speech in the rotunda when the Kentucky Party launched. They invited me to come give a few words, and I just encouraged people, that they'd have to vote for the, two establishment parties. So, yeah, so there's definitely a lot of good highlights, but there's also always the inevitable. I like to call it. I was talking a little bit before that we got on air here about the, just the sort of the turmoil that comes with a presidential election cycle every time it seems like in the LP. And I mean, it's not unique to us. It happens to the Republicans and Democrats too. I mean, it's, it's just, I guess some of us were kind of idealistic. I hope we could be a little bit less crazy and knife cutty than the two old parties, but it is what it is. It's presidential election season.
That's politics for you, man. That's just
Mhm.
politics in general. I don't think it matters what party people are part of. Anytime you get into politics, you'll have your best friend run against you. It happened to me, brother. Literally, it really did. And
Oh man, you didn't tell me that.
oh yeah, had my best friend run against me, but he was soundly defeated, as Trump would say.
Nice.
He was soundly defeated by 1,000 votes, actually.
Oh well, 1,000 votes means loud out east there, though. That's a lot more than over here. I'm living in Versailles, so we got about 12,000 people in Versailles, and I'm actually right over the border from Fayette County. So,
What's
like,
up, Brian? How are you, man? Yeah, we're on YouTube Live right now, brother. Anybody has any questions for former Libertarian Party Chairman Charles Altendorf? My bad if I butcher your last name, brother.
no, you're doing
Go ahead
great.
and ask it in the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But yeah, that's just politics, man. Politics is dirty, and but the Libertarian Party has come together more than the Republican Party and Democrat Party, in my opinion, and I'm sure you agree with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that sets us apart and still sets us apart from all the other parties in America is just our commitment to principle. And, it gets hard sometimes. I mean, I always tell people we would want to, you there you're always getting offered to stray away from principle. I don't want to say necessarily that I've been bribed per se, but I've definitely been given like offers to leave and abandon my principles and join the other two parties or stuff like that. And you know, we hold the line here a lot in the Libertarian Party. We still try and stick to our core principles and when I first started getting involved in the movement, probably back in like 2012, I think a lot of people still didn't, we were still the third largest party back then, too. I think we were on all 50 states presidential ballot back then as well. But I used to talk to friends from outside of the country and outside of Kentucky and places, and they used to kind of still struggle with what set us apart as the Libertarian Party. They'd still confuse us
What's up, everybody?
with some Republicans and stuff. But now I've noticed in the last 3 or 4 years that people definitely know we're a different, separate entity, that we have separate guiding principles, and it's a very cohesive sort of message. I think it's very down to its core. We want people to really be able to enjoy the freedoms. I think that the idealists would say our founding fathers wanted for us. Now, the jaded people might not say that, but I think when it comes to our core principles, it's really about you should have the right to own private property and defend it how you wish, and you know the government that governs least is the one that governs the best. I that's pretty much what it boils down to. There's a lot of mental gymnastics people try to do to get around that, but I think the LP always comes back to those core principles.
Yep. For people that don't know what the Libertarian Party stands for, on a national stage, what does the Libertarian Party really stand for?
Well, I mean, again, back to those core principles, it's really, the freedom of expression, obviously, the freedom to own property, the freedom to have guns, the freedom to do, uh, the freedom to not be harassed by the police for just driving down the street, the freedom to, the just the overarching thing that you should not be forced against your will to enter in a contract with somebody, and that's really what a lot of the problem we run into in American society is now, is that people are being forced at gunpoint basically to enter in social contracts they never agreed to. For instance, we talked at the jump here about my Woodrow Wilson shirt. Well, he was the one that forced us to enter into an income tax. Now, I did watch a historian that pointed out that Teddy Roosevelt was about to do it too. But regardless, where did we sign up for that? Did you, when, the government lovers, well, that might be a little bit loaded of a phrase. The, the people say that's because you're born, you sign up for the social contract to pay income tax. Well, no, I disagree. You're born free. You should be able to say, hey, I uh I don't agree with the way you're spending this money at my local school district, so you're not getting paid. right? And- but we don't get that freedom, right? If you tried to do that, not pay your taxes, what would they do, Seth? They'd
Take
come
you to
at you.
jail, brother.
Yeah, so that's that, and that's really what it boils down to. So that's really what a lot of our core principles boil down to. We want to remove as much force from the equation as possible. That is the guiding principle. If there, we have a whole platform. You can look it up, lp.org/platform. We've hashed it out over uh, since 1970 now. That thing's been hashed out. But in there, the main principle we have is called the non-intervention principle, which basically says you don't have the right to force somebody to do something. You have to consensually enter into a contract. And people struggle with that, man. They feel like they're better than somebody, right? They feel like they should be able to make somebody do something. And so that's really what our guiding light is at the end of the day.
And what the Libertarian Party saying is taxation is theft.
Taxation is absolutely theft. You are not given a choice whether or not to pay it. And if you don't pay it, they will throw you in jail, regardless of what type of objection you may have to the tax, right? If your tax is being used, for instance, we always used to make fun of Mitch McConnell for voting for funding for Planned Parenthood, right? Well, you're being forced at gunpoint to pay for that. Granted, it's probably a small percentage of what you're paying, but still, you're being forced to pay for that. Or, for instance, uh,
Property
like
taxes.
property taxes, right? You're being forced at gunpoint to pay for schools. Now, that's an interesting question because we've had a lot of struggle with that. I think that's an issue in Kentucky that we're going to have to keep talking to the populace about and fight for a long time because that school choice vote came up and got defeated, which I was very disappointed in because my family's originally from Wisconsin. That's hence the very German last name. There's a lot of Germans in Wisconsin, but up there they have school choice. That was one of the main things that Scott Walker ran on and why he got protested so hard. And it has made a world of difference. I mean, poverty hasn't gone completely in Wisconsin or anything like that, but it at least gives a lot of those school children in the rougher areas a chance, right? They have a chance to opt out, right? Those families have a chance. Whereas here, in Jefferson County, nobody has a chance, right? Like JCPS is, which we have a friend now on the JCPS school board, but it's one vote versus six, so whatever. But I mean, they don't have a chance, right? Those kids will grow up, they'll be given the lower end of the stick their whole lives, all because they're not allowed to opt out with school choice. And I'm sorry, I disagree on that issue heavily with people, and I've gotten into quite a few arguments with people over that issue. But
School choice is very important, man.
you know, and it's not that I'm not against education at all. I have two degrees myself. It's that you should be allowed to choose your education. You know, and when school boards meet and they do it in closed doors and don't even let parents show up, and then they get to take the money from you at gunpoint. Once again, I'll point out that if you don't pay your proper taxes, they'll show up with guns and haul you off to jail. you know,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
theft at that point. That's what it is. It's theft and extortion, and I don't really see the difference between the government and the mafia. That's another big saying, Libertarian Party. The government is the mafia.
Well, I could go somewhere with that, but I'm just gonna not even speak on that. But
So,
but if you trust the government, I feel sorry for you. That's all I gotta say on that. The government is not your friend. The government is your enemy, honestly.
yeah, and that's not to say I paint with a broad brush every government official I've ever met. I have some friends who are in the government who I think are
I'd be
decent
speaking bad about
people.
myself.
But no, the problem isn't even necessarily that government exists at all, though we do have anarchists in our movement. But the issue is as Bastiat, and that was actually what was great about the UK radio show. So I read off like reams of Bastiat and stuff on the air, which was a lot of fun. But it's just the problem is the inherent expansion. That's what government inherently wants to do, is it wants to expand and control more of your life. And if you're not constantly vigilant against it, it will cause you problems. And that's where I'm actually from a young age in middle school, I actually played Thomas Jefferson in a play. So I've been a Jeffersonian disciple for a long time. And that was sort of a lot of the same thing he wrote about, and obviously authored our Declaration of Independence, but it's sort of a similar thing. Like he wrote the famously, the tree of liberty needs to be watered every so often with the blood of tyrants, that kind of stuff. And that's so it's definitely a thing. Like government will inherently try to expand and control your life, and they'll use any type of excuse. And we've been seeing that now play out with this Doge debate, right? You know,
I ain't touching that.
we've been
I
seeing it play out, man, and it's tough because like I do understand. I'm not an uncompassionate person. I know that's something that people claim, but it's not real compassion when you break someone's leg and hand them a crutch. But um I'm not an uncompassionate person, but you got to understand that money that the government's giving you, they're buying you off. They're buying your soul. It's like the old Faustian play, where he sells his soul to the devil. That's what you're doing. Every program, that's what's happening. Because, for every good thing, like for instance, I actually do enjoy now and again, I was watching some like FBI programs where they were solving cold cases, right? Well, that's probably a good function of the FBI, right? That's probably something they should be doing, right? But for every good case like that, there's some crooked thing like Breonna Taylor or something, right? There's always some crooked case too, right? And that's what you got to understand is whenever it doesn't even boil down to the actual official enforcing the rules even most of the time. It's when you give them the power, right? You put them in a situation where they have to enforce something on you, right? So if you make a dumb law, like for instance, we had somebody run for office from us for Senate who was a cop. His name was David Patterson. And one podcast he got on, he was talking about child restraint laws. And I said, well, hold on a second here now. Yeah, ideally, we don't want people letting their kids just flop around in the back seat and crash out a window. But if you make that law so extreme, now you're talking about arresting people for their kids riding around in the back of a pickup at 2 miles an hour on their farm, right? And that's where it inherently goes if you're not vigilant. So that's my illustration there with that, all that kind of thing. It's not even necessarily the regular enforcer of the law that's the problem. It's the people writing them, right? And that's where what it boils down to.
Yeah, not every government official is bad. I wanna just want to say that because I'm actually a government official. I'm
And I'm not
elected
even trying to
official,
imply that, but again, like I said, there's just
but majority of them are crooked. Like I'm
there's
just gonna tell
definitely
you the
crooks
truth,
out there.
man. There was a
Yeah,
super PAC that offered me $3,000 to run for state representative as a Republican, not the
I told you,
Republican
man.
Party, a super PAC.
I told you, man. I got offers all the time too. They'll come up. They do not want an independent thinker. They want somebody in the legislature that they can give them money and they'll just do what they say. Look the other way. Like I just heard the other day, a news article dropped that they're talking about they're doing a temporary renovation of the state house. They're not going to have an area for the public to view the votes while it's under construction. If that's not the crookedest thing I've ever heard in my life, they don't even want you to view what they're voting on.
They voted some stupid stuff in, especially in Frankfurt. I mean, they have, dude.
Yeah.
What's your
So,
thoughts on the people have to go like an hour away from their house to get their license renewed and all that?
so yeah, I actually brought that up on. So I do still now. I'm trying to local form my county Libertarian Party here in Woodford County, and that's actually sort of what the blessing is of not having to be state chair anymore. Is now I like to be able to focus down more on a more local level with my issues because I feel like that's where you cause more change. When I had to be state chair, right, I had to like keep in mind all the factions and issues across the state, which was kind of difficult sometimes, right? Because I see what's happening here in Lexington and Woodford County and sometimes in northern Kentucky because I went to high school there. But, you know, issues that happen where you are, for instance, Seth, Seth, I don't see them all the time, obviously, right? Or out in Western Kentucky, right? And I take all that into account as a state chair. Well, I don't have to now. But as for the driver's license issue, get back to that. I talked about that on my local page. But I mean, this is just a classic making a problem that didn't exist and then not having a solution to the problem. It's classic government mismanagement. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, yeah, why can't my county, all those people are still down there at my county clerk's office. They even gave me a nice new Woodford sticker from a license plate, right? But I can't go there and get a driver's license now. It don't make any sense. It don't make any sense at all, Seth. And then, people are scheduling for permits and they're having to book like 4 weeks in advance to get a permit to drive. I mean, it doesn't need to be this way. And the only reason why they did this is because they claim that they're going to have these real IDs, which I had to take one in the airport once when I went on a work trip to Philadelphia. And they had all this technology back. They always claim they have all this technology, and all these incidents they're trying to prevent, they still happen, man, because they never do anything with it. It's just like they knew about the 9/11 people. They just didn't stop it. They knew they were there. you know. So I made Seth about fall off his chair there. But so yeah, I mean the driver's license thing's total nonsense. No one's going to be any safer. They're just going to be completely inconvenienced, and now the government's going to have an easier ability to track you. So and we all have to conform, right? Because what happens when you don't conform? They're going to come arrest you for some reason. They'll be like, "Oh, you weren't carrying your real ID. Now you go to jail." I mean, so I don't know what's going to happen there because they clearly do not have enough resources in Kentucky to print everybody one, apparently.
That's what happens when you keep on electing Republicans.
That's what happens no matter who you elect, seem like these days.
Yeah,
Except
but
for
we got
honest.
majority of Republicans in the Kentucky House.
We do, although I would say Bashir's down with this too. I would say both parties have colluded with this because
Oh yeah, both parties are a joke.
I think with this real ID thing, again, I think it's based on tracking you, and they're kind of screwed because of the Snowden thing. Everybody knows now that they were collecting everybody's cell phone stuff. Although I knew that before it even dropped with Snowden, and it's actually pretty funny because like you could there was I forget I don't know if this website's still around, but I think it was like 7 or 8 years ago. There was one where you could plug in your profile and you could see actually what the algorithm was seeing about you. And I would love it because I would just throw the algorithm off because I look at all kinds of shit all day. So all kinds of stuff all day. And they wouldn't know what to do with it, right? I'd throw the algorithm totally off. So yeah, they've been tracking you, and this is just another way, right? I mean, it's like my friend, it's like these flock cameras around. Do you have flock cameras out there out in Eastern Kentucky?
What's that?
Do you have flock cameras out there, the license plate readers on the side of the highway?
I don't
Oh
think so. No.
man. Oh. So yeah, all around here in central Kentucky and everywhere, they're putting up these cameras that read license plates. Like there's one outside my neighborhood right here. 300 houses. You just drive right by it there, it reads your license plate. And well, this is really crazy. So one of them in Lexington went off and caught a guy. Although, get ready for this. Are you ready for this, Seth? Are you sitting down there? So they caught this guy, except it turned out it was an old murder warrant from Houston, Texas from 1980. So it was obviously not the same guy. But they came in guns a-blazing, arrested the guy, and then my friend at the law office down in Lexington, he got him off, obviously. But how embarrassing is that? But that's what the thing. So like my British friend, because I have a friend from Britain, he was actually used to be in the Royal Navy. They call him CCTV footage over there. That's what they called it. And he's like, why does that bother you? I'm like, because of what happened to that guy. Maybe your police are better trained, which I doubt it, but So yeah, I mean, with these real IDs, it is a real concern to me that it becomes a situation where it starts getting scanned before you can walk into buildings and stuff.
That's
I don't
scary.
know, and it's weird because this is coming out like you said. It's been even pushed again by the Department of Homeland Security, which is under Republican control now, right? And they're still pushing it. They're still so much for the small government party, I guess.
They used to be.
I guess Massey's the only one left in the small government party, Massey and Rand. I
Oh
don't
yeah, I
know.
was about to say Rand Paul as well.
So
There's a Democrat that's actually very interesting though, Fetterman out of
he's
Pennsylvania.
kind of interesting, yeah. Although I wonder how much time he has left on this world because he doesn't look the most healthy. But he still keeps hanging in there. But he seems to just like to make all of his own party mad, which is pretty funny.
I mean, I enjoy it. It's a good show.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I think about those the IDs. It's I don't even know what to do to roll it back now at this point. I guess that's sort of the frustrating part. Is I guess all you can really do is throw a wrench in people's plans, which I guess Massey tried to. And they still got some stuff through anyway.
And the big beautiful bill.
Yeah.
Yep. The big beautiful bill is another disaster, man. Trillions of dollars of debt.
Yeah, that's that it amazes me that people even still take our currency seriously around the world. We're just out here throwing money at everything, and people still take our money. I don't understand it at all. It makes
And
no
it's
sense to me. I don't, because I mean, I work for utilities, so like either you have the product and somebody buys it or they don't. There's not, there's no if and or what about it, you know. But yeah, the spending, I mean, it's just ridiculous. They can, like you said, you make all this great effort. They made a really great case, I think, for defunding NPR. So much of a case that, like, I was watching some socialists were even like, yeah, it's got to go. All it does is serve rich liberals. But, put in all this work to make a great case to make a cut because it's so hard to convince the public that the government doesn't need to spend money on something, which is mind blowing to me because you would think it'd be inherently obvious. But, and they finally make good headway. And what do? They just go out and start spending more money. So,
we got a governor's race coming up here soon, man. Is there any rumors of a libertarian running?
we've had a couple people in the pool that, we may consider trying to get them back out there again. But, I think the biggest thing is we're trying to get some more local street cred with some of our people. We elected a couple people to city council last year, and like I said, we got that ally in the JCPS, which uh, so those are. I think the biggest thing is we want to make sure we run the right person for races, because in a previous life, this is actually a strategy debate that happens in the LP a lot. Is there's some people who just they want to get anybody on a ballot anywhere. They think any exposure is good exposure. And I just wholeheartedly disagree with that method. What, like, I think our most effective run in this state was when Brad Barron ran for Senate. I think that was probably us at our peak highest moment since I've been involved in the state party.
He's a
He,
libertarian hero.
yeah. And so those are the type of people I would like to see running those bigger races, or people
He
like
needs to run for governor.
he's been getting calls about that a lot. People
You
even
hear to
still
hear
try.
first. You hear to hear first, Brad. You need to run for governor.
But yeah, so those are the kind of people I would like to see run for those bigger races, just no offense to John Hicks. I thought Hicks was is a good guy, but he did not have the charisma that Brad has. He he was an old school kind of he was from a different era. He actually worked at a small newspaper and kind of worked his way up into other things. And he's great at organizing the party and helping the party run, and he worked a lot with the ranked choice voting movement, which was cool. Uh, and he almost got it passed here, and then the legislature freaked out after Sarah Palin lost her primary in Alaska. So they were like, actually, we're not going to do this now. We're like, dang it, because we always got them to do it. They were going to do it, and then Sarah Palin lost, and then they got all mad. And I'm like, what does that matter? It's Alaska. But they didn't care. They were upset. So, yeah, so I would love to see that. I mean, right now I'm even focused more. I've been since, I've been organizing the Woodford Party. I've been kind of pushing a lot of stuff over about the sixth congressional race coming up now because there's all this talk that Barr is going to try and run for Senate to take over McConnell's spot, and that Alvarado is going to try and take over Barr's spot. And it's just like, can we get somebody who's even a tenth less establishment around here? Like, you know, here I am. I live like what, maybe 50 miles from the Massey border, and I'm stuck with people like Barr and Alvarado. And I mean, I got it. I posted that picture on the internet. Alvarado, literally, there was some meeting in Winchester before he left in disgrace and moved to Tennessee, and now he's back. But Alvarado is standing there, and McConnell, being how old he is and could barely walk, McConnell's literally being propped up by Alvarado in the picture, like he's behind him, pushing him upright. And this guy's coming in here saying he's gonna, oh, like, come on, dude. I don't take you seriously. So, and then you got Andy Barr who thinks he's tough on crime. That's really funny. So, I guess that did you hear about the case in Mount Sterling with the illegal immigrant that supposedly, did the dirty work on a girl and then murdered her? That happened over there in Mount Sterling, I guess. And so Andy Barr posted, "Oh, that's why I voted for Trump and why I'm 100% behind Trump." And I was like, "Okay, but I don't hear you talking about the client list at all, Andy Barr."
Hey, that's another thing, man. Are you talking about I know
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
I'm talking about that. You know what client list I'm talking about. I'd say that, not to say that again, crime is crime, obviously, in the
I'll say
LP.
it. Trump's on it. Trump's on the list.
He's
I'll
got
say
to
it.
be. There's no way he's not. But anyway, so that's what made me upset about that. It's like, yeah, obviously, that illegal alien committed a crime and they should be punished for the crime. But I mean, come on. There's this huge crime staring you in the face, Andy Barr, and you're not gonna take a stand on that kind of thing. You don't care. You, I mean, you voted for money for Ukraine. Right?
That's
Jeff
another
Young
thing
almost
Trump
beat you
done.
on that issue. Jeff Young, I mean, he only ended up getting like 32%, I think, or something. But still, I mean, people literally just voted for him for that. He said he would not fund Ukraine.
That's another thing Trump did. He ran on not giving Ukraine any money or any guns, and he sent guns to Ukraine.
Well, it's apparent to me, that the swamp always tries to drag people back down in, and I don't know. I don't know where you get. I guess that is a good question for anyone looking in the sort of third party movement and what other ideology to add. Is you gotta decide. I don't know what gives somebody the mental restraint of a Rand Paul or a Thomas Massey that they can continue to stay principled as. Because, like you said, you got offered money. I mean, it happens to everybody. It's crazy. It's like the Borg is coming to get you and assimilate you in. But I don't know. I guess for me, I don't know if this is a mental failing or some people joke maybe like an autism or something. But for me, there are some things I will not do. There are some things you could not pay me to do. And one of them would be to send my peers or my peers' children off to die for Ukraine or Israel or, I just can't justify that. Now, my grandfather, for instance, he fought under Patton in World War II. He went up and signed up to fight in the war after they bombed Pearl Harbor. I have no problem with military service, but come on, this isn't real military service what we're asking here. This is It's a joke. And if those people want to go fight in those wars, I'm not even saying they don't have to. Just don't do it on my dime as the U.S. taxpayer. You can go be, uh, like I think when Castro died in Cuba, there were some mercenaries trying to go back out to Cuba again. Fine, go ahead, but not on my time.
Yep, everything Trump ran on, he's doing the opposite of right now, and there's a lot of people in the MAGA movement that is very disappointed in him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be because I was getting questions about this from my international friends, and unfortunately, some my Australian friends, and of course, especially my Canadian friends, they suffer from an unhealthy amount of TDS. Which is I just stay level-headed for me as a libertarian now, since I've been doing this since 2012. I don't really get phased by whichever movement comes along anymore. But I was telling them what I think the biggest issue right now going on in the MAGA movement, or I guess the Republican Party writ large now, is this is going to be the divide. Which thing is the base more outraged about? The illegal immigration issue or the Epstein issue? And right now, those are the two main issues I think that are at war, right? And I don't know why they couldn't have both been addressed. I don't know why. Well, I think we know why the other one's not being
Oh
addressed.
yeah, 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 because he's on the list. I think he's doing a. I'm just gonna give him credit. He's doing okay with the border.
No, I mean, so that's the thing. So I think they're. So I was telling them because they were asking, well, why is he still, not as unpopular as Biden was or whatever, right? And I said, well, look, that issue was his top issue. That's still the top issue to a few voters, and that's, I don't necessarily agree with the policy because what I would do is I would make a simple pathway. I think we put people in situations to force their status to become illegal is what the problem is. But neither party wants to deal with that.
But
Anyway,
but would you but if they're here, like say they did a murder in
right,
Mexico
well obviously
or
that's a crime, so they
committed a
yes, for me a
or
pathway would look like this, although again, this is just Charles's personal opinion. This isn't even libertarian canon. But Charles' personal
this
opinion
is
would
not
be
Kentucky of Libertarian Party's the
this would
Libertarian
be my
Party of
compromise.
Kentucky's
My
opinion. This is
compromise would be
Charles's opinion.
if you live here for 10 years and you don't commit a crime, then you become a citizen. That would be mine. That's just where I would shoot in a ballpark as a compromise, but we're never going to see that, Seth. So no one's calling me up asking for my solutions.
Eh,
But
that's
yeah,
just your view, not the Libertarian Party of Kentucky's view.
yeah. But I,
I'm just
yeah, well, and that is an issue that's come up in the party before because we have some people who are open borders libertarians and some who are closed borders libertarians. But I think there is one thing most people can agree on, and that's if you're a dangerous criminal here illegally, you don't really, there's no place for you. You need to that's criminality regardless. If you're a dangerous criminal, again, we're not talking about like you dinged a car. We're talking about like you murdered someone in the street, then obviously there's no place for you here. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I was trying to explain that these internationals didn't understand. I was like, look, you got to understand that's popular with people. They see a guy in a gang get arrested and deported, they're like, I want to vote for that. You know, so
yeah.
so that's really what it boils down to. I don't know what outrages is more people, and I guess we're gonna find out in the next year in the elections if this sort
Midterms.
if this fight keeps going, but over those two factions. I don't know.
I'm,
I don't. What's your crystal ball, Seth? I mean, I guess obviously you care about both issues, I would assume, but do you have a
yeah.
what would
Well,
more to you? What do you want to see happen more?
I want to see the files released. I think Trump's on the files. He promised us that he was going to release them 100%, not just 25% of the files. He said 100% when he was on the campaign trail. And I think Trump is going to cost the Republicans 2026,
We'll see.
House and Senate. I
We'll
think he's
see.
costing the Republicans the House and the Senate.
I mean, he might. That is the tradition in our politics is that the incumbent party loses the midterms. But the problem is boy, the Democrats don't really have much messaging either. So we shall see. It'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I guess the Republicans got to circle the wagons on the issue. I mean, it seemed somewhat
They're trying to
divided.
hide. They're trying to
Yeah.
hide from the files. They're scared to death of the files.
Yeah, which is wild because why they were the ones parroting it. I mean, if you start trumpeting something, people are gonna start caring about it. I don't know what they expected to happen. It's- I guess they think people are just gonna stop with being questioning of the Clintons? Did they think that that was where it was going to stop? I don't know. I mean, obviously they were involved too, but I mean, everybody was apparently is what it seems like. So we got any good
Probably half of
comments in the
Washington,
comment
brother.
section there, Seth, or is it just people saying, "Hey"?
Oh no, we're not live on YouTube anymore.
Okay, all right. Anyway,
But
yeah,
but
go
yeah,
ahead.
brother. I think half of Washington's on the list.
I would say more than that. Have you ever heard about the secret slush fund?
No, sir.
Oh, I get to expose you to something today, Seth. So, actually, where I heard about this was NPR of all places 7 years ago. But there, basically, there was a secret fund. I don't know how people get access or don't get access to it, but there's been money that's just appeared before that's tried to buy off accusers of congressional people for sexual harassment. And it kind of got a little bit exposed. I remember the case with Al Franken. I don't remember other times. I think there's been other times, there's other people, but uh that girl who's that military photographer, they were out on some shoot or something, and I guess she was passed out and he felt her up when she was passed out and got caught on camera. And yeah, I mean, she said there was secret money offered to her to not go public about it.
Was it Anthony Weiner? He was a part of
Yeah,
something.
oh, that was bad too. What? Yeah, he had that thing. Well, I know he also had the thing where he was on a video chat with a 13-year-old girl in the room or something, but there was something else before that too with him. But I almost feel like we were being trolled with that one because of his name. Like, is this real? Is this like a fake name? Like, is this like a CIA op or something? But yeah, so anyway, that to bring that all back, yeah, I believe all of them are probably tons of them are on the list, and there's a secret fund to pay people off that's been exposed now multiple times. But the annoying thing about this stuff is, Seth, right? So we're talking about this client list stuff, right? And meanwhile, I don't know if you've seen, but WKYT keeps posting in my feed, about the trafficking they caught in Alabama recently, I guess. And it's like, okay, yeah, all right. Those guys are going to jail for a long time. They busted them and go in jail for a long time. You or I did any of this stuff, we'd be going to jail for a long time. But apparently, the leaders in our country just do it with impunity.
Look at Diddy, man.
And then Diddy, he only got what did he get like probation 10 years? He's not even a cell anymore, right? Or
He's still in a cell, but he definitely didn't get the years that he deserved. I think he might be getting like a year or two.
yeah, it's
But he's
ridiculous,
already been
man.
in there 1 year, so he'll get credit for that.
Right, exactly. And then the really crazy stuff, I mean that this and so that's what's wild. And then you got like on a lower level, I don't know if there's just too many crimes to prosecute or stuff, or they always claim they don't have enough jail capacity and stuff. But then you get like, you know, re-released people all the time, right? So you got like what happened in Lexington recently with that guy who shot it at that church. He was known to law enforcement several times. Like
Crazy. What,
Malibu's
what,
Most Wanted over there. That's what that was. He's
that was
supposedly a
crazy,
white
bro.
rapper.
Oh, he was a white rapper?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a white rapper. You
Yeah, he's
didn't.
in jail, right?
Yeah, he's in jail now. I mean, he not getting out now. He murdered two people. There ain't no way he.
And wasn't there like a serial killer going around Lexington too, injecting people with drugs? His name was Epperson something. They just
Oh yeah,
arrested
I
him.
forgot about that case. But yeah, again, and then like for me, so I told you my family's from Wisconsin. There was that Waukesha incident after the Rittenhouse trial. Where the guy drove into the Christmas parade, and that guy had been busted 2 weeks earlier. He was on release from trying to drive over his baby mama, right? And so,
That's crazy, bro. But
but
that,
but
but
they
that one,
come, the police
my
come
bad,
knocking on. What? Sorry, go ahead.
my
Go ahead.
bad. I was just gonna say that guy in Lexington, or the guy arrested that was injecting people with drugs and stuff. Each hotel room he was getting in his name, and then after it happened twice, they let it happen a third time.
But that's the thing, right? So,
Well, first time they let it happen the second time too. It
And
took
so that's
it
what's
took
so
the police 3 times to get this motherfucker.
well, and that's what's so rough, right? Is like there's no law and order, right? And they claim they're bringing us law and order, and they're not bringing us law and order, and that's why it's insane that anyone thinks we shouldn't be armed. Like,
Well,
it's just
UK, man.
it's very frustrating because there's just, you know, I've seen people like get arrested for smoking pot and have to be forced to do some real hard jail time for a few years. And then you got crazy people out here, you know, recidivists going after people and they don't do nothing to them until something really terrible happens. And then,
Yeah, dude, look at the UK though. You got knife attacks there every day.
oh, yeah.
If the people don't have, you're gonna have people. If they ban guns, you're gonna have people still get guns illegally.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it,
Well, I mean, Chicago is proof positive of that. I mean, Chicago guns are illegal. People have them here all over the place. I think murders have dropped slightly the last couple of years, but during COVID, it was terrible there. And they weren't supposed to be congregating or having guns.
Andy
Completely
Bashir
different.
was the one that was keeping people from going to church too.
Yeah, that was wild. That was very, very wild. I had some friends who went to that service, and
We did have Jeff Young on, man. I love to interview him.
oh, you'll get some fun stuff with old Jeff Young. So yeah, I know Jeff, he's a fun guy. We don't really agree much on economics, obviously, but oh man, he'll call out authoritarianism, which I find ironic considering how heavy he is on the authoritarian economics. But whatever. No, he Andy Bashir don't like him too much, and I would say the KDP don't like him too much. And if you had told me a party would not endorse its congressional primary winner, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have thought at the very least they just would have not said anything, but they came out actively unendorsed, which is their own problem because they're the ones who voted in this state. Have you heard of straight ticket voting, Seth?
Yep.
Yeah, they're the ones who voted that in. So there were plenty of Democrats that probably went to the polls in Lexington and just checked that Democrat box and voted for Jeff Young, even though he was disavowed.
Yeah, dude, you had the Democratic Party endorsing write-in candidates for that seat.
Right. Which is just nonsense. I mean, but,
Didn't Andy Bashir endorse a write-in candidate as well?
I don't know that. I don't know if that was official or not. I don't think it was, but he did officially unendorse Young. I know that. He came out and publicly said not to vote for him,
Jeff
which
Young
is
ran against him this past election too, did he?
yeah, and in the governor race, he got like 20% in that primary too. So he's kind of a little bit of a mild force, although I don't think he's got really much time left to do anything else now. He's getting pretty up there in age, so but it was definitely a fun ride watching him get Andy's goat a few times.
I'm definitely down to interview him though.
Yeah,
Seems
I'll
like
get
a
you hooked
very
up with
interesting
him.
guy.
He is very interesting.
Definitely, brother. What's your have you kept up with the mayor race in New York?
Oh yeah, so that Mandani guy. I mean, you know, he's probably gonna win because it's New York. But the whole thing is just a total crap show. I mean, you got Eric Adams, who's obviously a crook of some kind, and Trump bailed out, evidently. And then they tried to come in there, and their solution to prevent this Mandani guy from getting traction was to trot out uh that governor. What's that Italian governor's name? Cuomo from the dust after they all told us he was a scumbag. It's like, what do you expect? They're just gonna vote for a scumbag anyway, I guess. I mean, I guess that's what they think of their voters. They think their voters are idiots. But I mean, they told everybody that he was harassing women, and then he comes out there, they told him to vote for him in the primary. So what
They've
do they
got a
expect to happen?
Republican candidate as well. I forget his name.
So it's gonna be interesting because I don't know if Adams has like any core supporters that would just abandon ship to vote for him as an independent candidate. I really don't know. And I don't know if I mean, New York, I don't know. I mean, there's some capitalists left, I guess, in New York, but I don't think they represent a large voting bloc. I don't know.
Eric Adams is polling at like 15%. He's polling less than the Republican candidate.
That's wild. That's wild. An incumbent mayor voted bowling that low. But it's not shocking. I mean, I guess Bloomberg kind of got ran out of town on a rail, didn't he? I think at the end he got ran out pretty hard. Michael Bloomberg when he was mayor. I seem to remember that. They started getting
Bloomberg ran for president too.
that was what was funny because he got ran out of town in New York. That's why he had to leave because they all got mad at him about the stop and frisk policing because that was his idea. Well, actually, I thought that was originally Giuliani's, but I think it was his. And then Giuliani, of course, that whole thing got really weird later on after the lawsuits and all that. And
Over the 2020 election.
right, and then when he got busted by that comedian when he did the sequel to oh that really good Borat 2. Did you hear about that with Giuliani and Borat 2?
No, no.
So I don't know what happened there, but they had some clearly kind of like questionably underage woman in a scene that appeared like she seduced Giuliani a little bit. And they had it on camera. And it just looked all kinds of bad for Giuliani. And I couldn't believe he kept getting himself in those situations. Like, I'm like, you used to be mayor of the biggest city in America, and you seem to have like no common sense whatsoever. He's just in all these dumb situations. And it's not even like he's doing anything. Like I said, I mean, there's people doing way worse things than Giuliani's doing. But like, it's just like he keeps ending up in these really dumb situations that just drag his reputation farther down.
Yeah,
So,
his political career is over.
yeah. So. And it's kind of hard to watch. Like just watch people just be stupid in public. It's kind of embarrassing. It's like please just go away. But that's part of the problem, right, in our country that I'm hoping does get better. We'll see maybe depending upon what Vance does. I'm assuming, Trump is too old. He definitely won't run again. But you know, we need a changing of the guard just in politics in general. There's way too many people who've been there way too long.
Mitch McConnell, who's finally not running for re-election.
And he's only doing it because he's probably going to go at any moment. I mean, he probably shouldn't have ran in 2020.
No, hell,
But
Roger's been there since well before me and you both was born.
yeah, yeah. I was born in '89. He's been there before then, I believe. So
I think 84.
that's crazy. Can you imagine that? Just living off of the public's money for that long?
And he's never ran for president or anything else, just
No.
that one seat.
I mean, of course they'd be out of touch with you. And that's the other thing that's kind of mind blowing. I had to explain to my international friends. It's like, so for instance, in Canada and the UK, their representatives on the federal government are like one for every 20,000 people. So like most of those people actually do know them, right? Like they have a more somewhat personal connection to those people. I explained to them, no, our Congress people are one person for every 735,000. They don't give a crap about their constituents. They don't even know who they are.
It's very true, man.
And
Well,
that's where I think the disconnect happens with me and the internationals. They don't, because they're like, why do Americans hate their representatives so much? It's like, because they're not our representatives, man. Like, they don't know any of us. They don't.
very true. Hey, man, I appreciate you being on, brother.
Hey, are we about to wind it down then?
Yes, sir. I'm about to run out of time.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, Seth. And yeah, feel free to check out our website, lpky.org, or there's the national website, lp.org. And yeah, just remember if you pass a law, somebody's going to get arrested, and you better hope it's not you.
Everybody check out nighthawk-radio.com. Check out Seth's Daily Podcast every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out Beyond the Woodline every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out Awakening Radio every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on nighthawk-radio.com. You can also check us out on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere you find good podcasts at. Everybody have a good night. God bless.